Before I actually saw this film, I was planning on opening by lamenting on the old cinema that lies decrepit in my home neighbourhood of Walthamstow, my childhood memories, and what a disgrace it is that for well over a decade Waltham Forest was the only London borough not to have a cinema, and how disgusting it is that a historical piece of Art Deco is being allowed to become unsafe and may not be with us for much longer. I was then going to be anecdotal about the snazzy new revamp of Walthamstow High Street, which now includes a Nando's, a Pizza Express, and a shiny new Empire Cinema. Open only 1 week, absolutely packed, and, disconcertingly, staff I would not trust in an emergency based on how they cope when things are merely busy. The fact the place was packed matters, as I'm a theatre person. Whenever I've just been to see a play or show I love, I wished the theatre had a revolving door and that another performance was to happen just after. You can more or less do this with films, of course, but I never wanted to before tonight. You share more with the audience with theatre, people gasp and cry more, and there's a direct energy between you all and what you're watching. And, of course, there's the curtain call. It's kind of magical. I will be a bit anecdotal about the evening, since, other than the screen room being completely full, I was surprised by the diversity of the audience and the fact there were families there. This is important, since when I saw the trailer for the Imitation game, and they needed to include the words, "based on a true story," as if enough people wouldn't get that from the name Alan Turing, my heart sank a little. Screenwriter Andrew Hodges, clearly a man very passionate on his subject, who fought tooth and nail for this to be made, remarked in an interview that he wanted British people demanding Turing on our banknotes. I don't think he was necessarily being literal, though it would be a disgrace if this never happens. But if I understand him correctly, I think it's fair to say he succeeded in his aim. In terms of telling people how repulsively society treated a person who did so much for us, in terms of finally righting a wrong of justice, this film is more important than Turing having been posthumously pardoned. One thing to say about this picture is that what previous reviews have said is certainly correct. It works as so many things: a war drama, an espionage thriller, a drama and a weepy, and, oddly, a comedy. This got more laughs from the entire audience and from me than most films that call themselves comedies. And it isn't just for computer nerds, believe me, I'm not one. The technobabble is kept to bare essentials, and what is going on is always accessible. I suppose I love the ingenious simplicity of this film, which is quite something for a biopic that darts between 3 different times in Turing's life and cuts away to scenes of a world war. It is itself like a machine, mathematically perfect without a part out of place. These include the many issues ranging from living with what was almost certainly an autistic spectrum disorder to the disgusting treatment of gay and bisexual men at the time, from the hurry to save lives and the lives saved to the impact of the world that computers would have, while Turing's atheism is subtly alluded to, but never hammered home. I submit it is impossible to find fault with it. I intend to go back to see it on the big screen as many times as I can while I can, because I genuinely believe this cannot be improved upon. I will never see a better movie. To call it my new favourite would be an understatement. I always used to screen friends with 3 questions. Do you like Doctor Who? Do you like musicals? Do you both get and like Stuart Lee's "I've walked in space" routine? Can you guess what the 4th question will now be? I judge you on both loving and crying at this film. To mention Lee's "I've walked in space" routine, if you are familiar with it, could not be more apt the way I feel as I type this review. I knew it would be an important film, the most important of the year, no doubt, and not just for a GSD and neurotypical individual like myself. I did not expect it to be so engaging, witty, entertaining, suspenseful, or, well, magical in some way I can't put into words. To praise the cast would be redundant. The script is a masterpiece, and talk about well directed. To share a film of this power and brilliance with a packed house full of every kind of person in a community like Waltham Forest, hearing and feeling every reaction, isn't something which influenced me to love this film, but it may have helped me realise quite how exceptional it is. When the credits began, a woman at the back started clapping. Round about the same time a woman in front of me clapped. And then some people to my left. And then I felt comfortable to express myself in this way too. The audience applauded as if we had just seen a play or a show, and out of genuine adoration for the experience we'd had. In 30 years of movie-going, I have never known a film to get a round of applause. Had it been a play where applause is socially the norm, this would have been at least a standing ovation. Mark Kermode said of this movie that, even though this film has a sad ending, it still manages to leave you feeling you've been at a celebration, which is what it is. I agree with him completely. And what is significant about this moment isn't that it happened. It is that I knew immediately why it happened. This film deserves it more than any other. It just plain earned it. I never imagined this film could possibly exceed my expectations, but boy did it. And it's not that everyone has to see this picture. It is that everyone deserves to see it.
You know, picture the scene. It's a Friday night, right? You've just got back from space. Your friend Ian rings you up. He goes, hello? You back from space then? You go, yeah. You go, what was it like? And you go, well, amazing thing. And Ian would go, right, anyway, look. A crowd of us are going down the multiplex tonight to see the new Schwarzenegger film, Jingle All the Way. And we wondered if you'd want to come. And you would say no, because I've walked in space. Seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger's latest poorly conceived flimsy comedy vehicle holds few thrills for me now. And Ian would go, oh, go on, we're going bowling afterwards. And he would go, no, because I've walked in space. And Ian would go, oh, you've changed, you have.